two things. The first thing was your goal path, and the second thing was prediction of your next available actions.
That is extremely interesting.
So, for example, we're in goes plan holiday, and it's prompted these. It doesn't have a dictionary to go with, but if I said I want to somewhere hot, for example, not Scotland.
Yeah, that's easy.
Okay, now we've got the top level goal is still considered, and now we've
that
got.
Is cool, dude. That is really cool. That's amazing.
It's not bad, is it? It's not bad.
That's amazing. That's absolutely amazing.
Season is summer.
So goal. What are you calling this? A sub goal or what's the?
I'm calling nested goals.
Nested goals, okay.
Yeah.
Parent, so like child parent type of thing.
Yeah. So now we got this one was the original goal. It's like, okay, I want to go somewhere hot and I want to go somewhere in the summer, and it's given you. I've constricted it to 2 actions each time, but that's just me. Now here's an interesting thing. I managed to get to remember. I want to buy a dog. Okay, so it's remembered what we've done previously, but now we're talking
so
about
that's like an avalanche where it's like, whoa, the goal switch, you've got all this nested stuff stacked up, but you just switched radically to this other thing.
So it's a big dog, and then you can nest. And I'm getting it to remember just the goals, nested goals, and actions.
That's cool.
So now we've got buy dog, big dog, explore big breeds, etc. Now we can go back to
assist living space. That's clever.
Make my holidays somewhere that speaks English.
Come on, Isa.
So it should see that as a goal switch.
Wow. Dude,
that's back in planning holiday, English speaking, climate conditions, and it's still got the big dog in the background.
All right, you hooked me. How did you do it?
Okay. This is still not perfect, but here's the system prompt. So first of all, I told her what a goal is and what an action is.
Yeah.
There's just definitions. Then I told it how to assess the goal. That's the thing we talked about last time. Then I told it about nested goals.
So hey, would you say that without causing the LLM to speak out loud, would you say that causing it to, or giving it a path by which to break down its thinking, even though you don't get a printout of what that is, still results in a higher quality output?
Oh, absolutely.
Really?
In fact, what you're seeing is the raggedy end of a whole bunch of failed system prompts.
Because something else that I've noticed that's related to performance is that the size of the input tokens has almost no bearing on the time it takes to generate the response. The time taken is almost strictly a linear function of the number of output tokens. So if you feel that you can avoid having it to list all it's working, but you still get the same effect as though it was working, that's a radical speed increase.
That's really interesting. Now you mention it, this has been pretty fast all day, but
because the output is small,
we're making changes.
It strains, it burns on the output, but the input tokens, sure they cost, but who cares? But it appears to be generating each token one at a time by choosing from this vast array of what it could be.
By constraining it doesn't need to do that. Yeah.
But yeah,
Okay.
yeah, because that's
All right.
part of its decision for the next token, and so you can sort of get, I think you can get better performance, speed
Hmm.
performance without a without a terrible loss in quality. I think.
Hmm. That's really interesting.
Yeah, right,
Subjectively, that's what I've felt that this has been. Well, this evening it's been hammering on
right.
really fast, and you know,
How much money did you print?
I've no idea. I got put on the naughty step twice. Um,
Yeah, because
I
you
said,
smash it with like huge prompts.
yeah, yeah. I honestly haven't looked. Um, so there's a couple really interesting uplifts when I was doing this. First one is to give it example of this nesting, as opposed to just telling it what nesting is. You just state it. The second big one was this, and I've only done one so far, but giving it an example of an idealized
Yeah, okay,
output.
so that's what I was worried about. That you just showed me examples that match your example.
No, no, no. You choose one. It
Ah,
makes generic, so I don't know.
I, I want to add a
Uh,
customer to the CRM.
this would be interesting, actually. I haven't gone off piece too far. Okay. Um,
Oh, right. Yeah, no, that's, yep. No, I can see that would work pretty good.
yeah. It seems to it doesn't get polluted with your examples.
Right.
Uh,
So,
so,
can you take me back to the prompt that you put in?
mhm.
So, see these examples, if you feel like this could be huge, you could add that
Mhm.
as a retrieval file, perhaps,
Mhm.
and then at the worst case, if we find that we need a lot of these examples, we can run a fine-tuning exercise on the model so that in effect all these examples are in the model when you call it.
Yeah, yeah. Um, I got a huge increase in specificity by just doing one of these.
Ah, right,
Uh, and I suspect it's because I've previously defined, and putting it in all
right,
caps really does make a big difference. So
right.
I've previously defined all these things,
Cool.
and all I'm looking for, what it seems to have picked up, is my example response is a single um, sentence in each one of these, so it constrains itself to a single sentence. I've already constrained goal and action to 2 words, and active voice, like set destination and so on.
Right,
And it seems to pick this up and makes it generic for any subject. So I don't know how many of these beyond the first one. I think the first one you get a huge step up. I don't know
right. And then it starts to sort
whether
of
we.
logarithmically sort of taper off. It's not,
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah, exactly, exactly. So the other part of it is, yeah, getting the definitions up front, very important. Now, what was just when you texted there, what I was trying to do is to figure out what happens if you've got a goal switch when you're in a nested goal. So I think I've solved that. So I'll give you an example. So we're opening a CRM, enter name Karen. If I have a goal switch here saying my CRM includes trucking routes, and to add one. Thinks what I'm trying to do is uh, get it to maintain. No, it hasn't done that. So now it's got a new goal on add
Mm.
root CRM. What I was trying to do is to say, like, I'm now talking about a CRM. I've got, in this case,
Yeah,
two
but look,
actions.
I mean, that's what's fascinating is that we can load it with knowledge about the system. Like, if it knows about a CRM, then it's like,
Yeah,
like it's going to do a better job. Because this is like, it's got no
yeah,
clue what a CRM is here.
yeah, yeah.
Mate, this is
Um,
fascinating.
it's not bad, is it? It's not bad.
Mm.
I think maybe the next thing I'm going to try to do is to get it to pull from a specified list of end actions.
Right, because I think that I'm starting to suspect that the way to prime the system is to generate a user manual that's
Hmm.
automatically generated by GPT-4 based on all the descriptions of the objects in the hierarchy. So it kind of rolls
Mm.
it up and flattens it out, and then
Yeah,
sort of makes it like a fact list in effect, and then
yeah,
attaches that fact list as a retrievable item, so it gets processed by embeddings. And then when you talk about CRM, it's like, oh, looks up the manual. Oh, that's the CRM. Oh, you want to add a customer. Oh, that's how you do it. Oh, well, and it can fiddle around with,
yeah,
right? That's sort of what you want, right?
yeah. I was playing with that yesterday actually. I don't know where it's gone actually. Mm. Uh, uh, nah, 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 no, okay. What I was doing was a similar thing to here. It's constraining it by I was using nomenclature of P01, P02 for prompts,
Yeah,
R01, R02 for responses,
right.
but A01 and A02 for axioms, which I didn't tell anybody
Axioms.
what those
Okay,
axioms were.
right.
As an axiom seems maybe the next step. So remember, we were saying the ideal thing would be to effectively have a blank but constrained guardian, and the axioms are built up with user interaction, which speaks to what you're saying. If it knows the objects that it can actually do, then it should be able to build up a set of axioms. Like there could be only one customer per address, for example, and then further constraints.
Yeah, yeah. So that starts to touch on a different topic, which is that my I mean, fuck, let's call it a career for lack of a better word. My coding career has been about um, writing test suites, extrapolating
Mm-hmm.
what those tests could be, sometimes generating brute force fuzzing testers and all that.
Mm-hmm.
You could, with this system, chuck the manual at it and be like, exercise everything. As it grinds, it could
Yeah,
be feeding back into this distilled version of axioms where it sort of does each action, considers, should I update my rules, should I update my manual, like it, instead of the weakness is for me as a human to make the manual, it will always be flawed. But if
yeah,
this thing can act as my tester, because that's why I keep having these delays in delivering stuff to you, because I'm like, well, this thing thrashes the system more than I can, which is great,
yeah,
but it means that it exceeds my testing zone on the regular. And so
yeah.
this is a wholesome thing, but it's just I'm just struggling to carry the weight of it at the moment.
Let me show you this. This is really cool. So this is a paper. I think NVIDIA were behind this. Let me go up to date. In essence, what they did was used LLMs to
Mm,
build a bot that could play Minecraft,
right,
but without any visuals going in it whatsoever.
right.
Now, the interesting thing is they're thinking along the same lines of what we're thinking. Where is it? Skill library sounds a hell of a lot like what we've done with helps.
Right.
They give it directives.
That's
So they've got an
exactly.
idea of goal, and then they've
Yeah,
got
that's exactly
current
it.
state, which is session. So what they haven't done is they haven't done any sub goals, but what they have done is tasks, which sounds
Right. Close
similar.
enough. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So they've got the ultimate goal, and then they get the LLM to generate the next task. We've got the current state of the session, and then we've got the skills library.
Mm.
But the interesting thing is they're using the skills library to generate code,
Right.
and then testing their own code via
Right, right.
execution errors
Right, 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 right.
before it's put back into the
Yeah, right.
library.
So their goal has been almost closed closed autonomous learning or unsupervised in a sense, whereas we're talking about integrating humans into that same step so that
Yeah,
it will be overall
yeah,
faster, but more importantly, it will be geared towards what the humans want in an environment where nobody actually knows what the environment is. Whereas
right,
Minecraft, you
right,
know
right,
it.
exactly. Yeah, yeah. All this. The only or the key difference between this paper and what we're trying to do is they're having the LLM generate the next task to do,
Right,
whereas we're getting you to do the next task or to
right,
say
right,
what the next task is.
right. But we
Um,
should be able to do this internal looping for big tasks. Like when Dave asks for something like retake the Falklands, we should be like bam,
mhm.
bam, 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 bam. Like
Yeah, yeah,
so.
yeah,
It should be a mixture.
yeah, yeah.
Man,
But
okay.
it was really interesting because this is it's a fascinating paper. If you I don't know if you got it's quite long, it's 42 pages. But what it does do is give you system prompts, and so it's
Please,
looking at the
please
system prompts.
send it
Yep, I'll do it right now. Um,
as I look away so you don't tempest yourself once again.
yeah, I'm not very good at Tempest.
That's all right.
Oh, it's
My
getting
goal is full transparency, personally.
yeah. I've nothing much to say, to be honest.
Yeah.
All right.
Are we clear?
And we're back in the room. Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Um, so they've got they've done a really good job actually. What they've run against those various areas. Now, the interesting thing is this is GPT 3.5,
Right.
which they ran on.
Right.
See this
Right.
plateau?
Yep. Yep.
Seems
Yep.
to have hit
The internal limit.
a local.
That's the
Yeah,
internal intelligence limit of the model. That's beautiful. That's a beautiful
yeah,
line.
yeah.
Right. So they're
And
like
then this
the
is
no matter what
4.
you do, the
Yeah,
LLM will never proceed past that. You have extracted all
yeah,
of the intelligence you're going to get from that model, right? But four just
and
keeps on going.
yeah, and you notice that goes with
Man,
yeah.
that
That's
is
for our code iterations,
amazing.
for task integrations, and so on.
Yeah, right.
And this is they just ran out of tokens, I think, or ran out of time and just fuck it, publish it. So who knows what happens to this curve up here?
It
But
should, well, if the curve doesn't flatten, it's AGI. So it'll flatten somewhere. You either achieve
yeah,
your task or you run out of steam, and then but a human can get the curve more vertical again, because a human can
yeah,
always sort of bump you up more.
yeah. Well,
So
interesting enough, the purple is a human here, so
right,
that's human performance.
yeah, yeah, shame on them, shame on them.
It's a
But
bit shitty.
these logarithmic curves look a lot like the paths in human endeavor throughout the years. Like you've got like
Mm.
all this work on fusion, and we're like, yeah, yeah, we've got fusion, we can do this, we're gonna, and then it sort of, like
Yeah,
it
yeah.
always,
It's just
it's
standard, just like
it's really
it's
just
like we're
a
stuck. This is a
yeah,
stuck, isn't it?
that plateau, right? And that's
Yeah.
another way of thinking about a stuck is that when you should always be measuring progress within a goal, particularly if your goal is attempting to be solved automatically. And as soon as you detect a plateau, that's when you should declare stuck.
Yeah, yeah,
And then,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
But
That's
look
a
at
good way of thinking about it,
yeah,
actually. Yeah,
look at where like if you start here and the system can run by itself to here, that's valuable. That's incredible.
There's one other really interesting. Anyway, this is a great paper.
That
It's worth
is
the
a
read.
great paper.
And they ran it against various models and so on.
That is a
ChatGPT
great
4
paper.
bombs out, and it's like number of iterations before you get the golden sword and so on.
Right, so if
Uh,
we so this task doesn't seem too hard to replicate. What we should be able to see is we should be able to hook up the Dreamcatcher to this task and demonstrate what machine plus human does to those graphs.
yeah, because the only thing that, as I say, the only thing that's different from what they're trying to do, although they've got a very specific realm, they've chosen Minecraft because it doesn't have any particular goal,
Right.
and it
But
doesn't have
it's
any
yeah,
particular rule
it's
sets, but
still
it's
a
got
closed system. It's got physics.
right, exactly. I'll show you one other interesting thing, which is the map coverage. So GPT just went wild, and you know the less intelligent ones didn't go hunting for stuff
Right.
nearly
They
as
didn't
much.
seek resources. Wow, man, that's
So
incredible.
if you imagine this is a search space, it's going out much wider in our namespace. This is in the help space, right? This is
Yeah,
resources that already exist,
that's
and
right. That's
no one's
right.
go out there.
That's right. Man, this is a fascinating paper.
It's good, and they've been kind enough because it's academics doing it. They've been kind enough to give us some pseudocode about how.
Hmm.
I've not looked at this in any great detail, but this is the environment they set up.
Yeah.
Uh, the thing I did look at quite quickly is, or in detail, is what their prompting was. Again,
It could be that when
they
you so
format it.
one of the next pieces of tooling that we need to build is the machine to help you make these prompts faster. You could load it
Yeah.
with these documents as reference material so that
Oh yeah.
it could learn
Well,
tricks from all around town,
I
right?
think I did some work on um, this was one of the early ones. Where is it? I'm pretty sure I did a um, uh, where is it? Yeah, okay, no, maybe I think it was in the command line. I was building a bot as a single bot in order to help build other bots, but didn't have much examples of what a good system prompt was. But what you're saying is it's quite good. There's quite a few papers knocking around that people publish their system prompts on. There seems to
Mm,
be quite a healthy number of people just saying, "Here's what I've done."
yeah,
You don't have to get many.
yeah, because no one really knows how to monetize those yet, but that's where,
Right.
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, that's
So anyway,
fascinating. That is
that's as far as I've got. But
first of all, that runs very quickly. Like, there's no chance that you'll lose Dave's fickle attention. And second of all,
eventually,
that's wildly accurate, and it's got great what's the word for holding? It holds the goal. It clasps
yeah,
it well.
it's and the thing I was really impressed by is the context switched back. You don't have to force it back. You just need to start talking about the thing.
Yeah,
For
like
example,
it recognizes switch
where's my
very
monkeys? Yeah.
very naturally.
Um, Typing in VR is not that good. To buy tie and suit. Okay, so now we got a new
Right.
goal and a dog.
What? These things don't make sense.
It figures it out. There you go. Okay, so now I've got it. it still remembers I want to buy a tie-in suit and a dog. It's given me nested buying dog. Oh, this is interesting. Buy dog, consider lifestyle. Okay, so it's hallucinating a bit there. I think what it's trying to do there is saying if you're to buy a dog and a tie-in suit, you might want to consider your lifestyle.
I think that's a fair thing to ask. It's like, mate, have you thought about this?
I haven't seen that before. If the goals are close in the vector space, it might start conflating them.
Okay, so where does that leave us? There was another extra point I wanted to add to the goalie. That it seems like a useful use case is to be able to quickly ask, what does this mean? Or what is the difference between implies and therefore? You know, and the goal should be like a word definition, a knowledge lookup. And if we can, we should, you know, it should be like dictionary definition, grammar, you know, like the goaling should be recognize that you just ask for some general knowledge or some, you know, like that's
yes, yeah, that shouldn't be too hard.
And so it's sort of like this not an Easter egg, but it's like some bonus functions that you get, because that's sort of naturally what I find I want to do when I'm talking to GPT is I just want to know something quickly. I'd prefer to just drop it in the stream that I'm in, you know, but I have to worry about it polluting, so I need to make a new.
Well, the goals seem to be a good way of avoiding pollution. There's some pollution.
Right. I think what I'm getting at is that there's a set of buckets that we can predefine that will be common buckets, and we should find a way to task the goalie to try and fill existing well-known buckets first before inventing its own ones.
Yeah. That makes sense.
In fact, you may be able to express the system's current capabilities by the lists of buckets and nested buckets within it, and you're like, those are the things it can do. If you can't be fitted or fat into one of those buckets, you don't, you know, you can go down this live generated area, but we're going to warn you. We're going to warn you that you're on your own and you're in untested territory. We can't guarantee system performance outside of these bounds. These goals are experimental.
That's the kind of the Guardian thing, isn't it? The Guardian is
right, but I just think if we can't drop the Guardian and replace it with predefined buckets, where the buckets have to be chosen from a tested list, perhaps.
Yeah.
So the testing cycle affirms what goals we are confident we can achieve. That that bucket list, as it were, gets published, and then if the goalie can't fit you into one of the confidence buckets, the competence buckets, then it'll try and make some more, and it'll feed that back to home base to tell us that, you know, people are trying to do these other things, but we're going to warn you, like, you know, your user interface is going to constantly tell you that you're off piste.
Yeah, exactly.
You know,
which was
warning,
you know, the whole,
warning.
You know, why are you designing your kitchen while talking about CRM kind of thing?
Right. You're like, I'm sorry, Dave, I don't know about kitchens, but
yeah.
So maybe that's a way to include or merge the Guardian and the goalie.
Well, it's also
together.
quite a nice way to think about stocks as well, isn't it?
Stocks have to be gold, and the more you can get the goals to be common or global, the better chance you'll have of finding help. And I mean, let's be honest, most goals are pretty global. I mean, when you really boil it down.
They're not that innovative, really.
People are not that. Okay.
No. For the next iteration of this, then, how about I try and give it a bucket, because you notice it doesn't actually have any additional information other than the system
I
properly.
know, and it did an amazing job with what little
Yeah,
information it was given.
yeah. It's like enter name Karen under add customer CRM, input customer name. Um, Pretty fucking darn good actually.
Right?
Uh, and if we give it some kind of formatting behind the scenes on JSON to do that, it came up with that itself.
Mm.
Maybe the next thing to do then is to try and give it two separate buckets.
Predefined
Uh,
buckets, yeah.
and yeah, so I can do a CRM and I could do a holiday booking, what's it,
Right,
whatever.
right. And so
And then,
those would be equivalent to GPTs, I guess, those things that we've tested well, but they're fuzzy, right? Because
yeah,
they're not,
yeah,
they're not explicitly put there by a human. They're deemed worthy by an AI out of all
yeah.
these other options which can constantly update.
Well, this is the thing we were wanting. Remember when you're over here, that if it gets to the point where it doesn't know, then it creates the stock without even asking,
Yeah.
um, which is a similar kind of thing, saying it now got an empty bucket,
Mm.
and you can put a few intents in there. Why is that bucket here? Well, Dave asked for this. I don't know. And you can even get multiple people talking into this bucket, and maybe the veracity of the bucket has some input onto it. So the more specific it is, the more that you can rely on the bucket, and you can even signal saying this is a untested bucket or whatever. But there seems to be something. There seems to be something behind that. It's
Yeah.
effectively skills, isn't it? It's helps. It's putting helps into.
It's the index. The index of helps
Yeah,
is goals.
yeah, yeah. Well, let me give that a shot.
Mm.
See what it's like.
Mm. Okay, mate, that's
Um,
fascinating. That's
yeah,
absolutely fascinating. That's
it's good
mind blowing
result, isn't it?
performance. That's mind blowing. Like that is
Yeah,
such clear, concise goal breakdown.
I know.
I didn't
I've
even
been
think
I've
that was
been
possible. And
I've
then
been messing around with it.
yeah, yeah. But
Uh,
that I mean that prompt that you gave it wasn't even that big, really. But you've got like just such clarity of goal.
yeah, and it pulls goals from questions, declaratives, assertions. There you go. Choose Christmas gift. Action.
Right.
Consider wife's interests.
Is there any
Not recent
purpose of a
hints.
bit of a loop?
No recent hints. That's correct. Sorry.
Is there any point in having a loop where I can talk about my goals to refine them? Like if I get a goal back that's in error, or if the goalie feels uncertain about what it's chosen, could a dialogue be enacted?
That should already be there. I don't care about recent hits. It should change the actions.
Hmm.
There you go.
A subscription service? No. Tell me. That's pretty good
You
though.
notice, yeah. The interesting thing here is it's maintained the top level goal,
Yeah.
and it's now just changing actions because in the definition, actions are different from goals.
Hmm.
So it can change actions while keeping
I
the
mean,
same goal.
that in itself is almost a service, you know? It's like an intelligent shopper that just asks you leading questions and you're just
Yeah,
telling it more and more and more and it's like, "Oh, yeah, look, I found this thing. You should, that could be another way to do advertising in the GPT world where it's not trying to, hold a placard at you. You're coming to it
yeah,
and wanting genuine, trustworthy advice and it helps you figure it out, and that's what you get the affiliate sales from.
yeah. And the interesting thing with the definitions that has at the moment, it seems to have naturally picked up that there's two types of action. There is um, you're not specific enough. So, for example, let's explore timeless gifts.
Right.
But then there's the active voice, buy a watch.
Oh, right. So it helps you understand more what you're asking by suggesting
Yeah,
how it would go about what you just said verbatim. So I guess
right,
like
right.
at a customer would break down into customer name, customer email, geocode their address, check their email doesn't bounce, things like that, right?
Yeah, yeah. But the really, yeah, exactly. The interesting thing is the task switching. Um, I've just found out that my customer called Karen has a surname of whatever. XX. Please add that now. I've not tried this one, but I've done similar ones. It should now switch back. It should remember the context of the goal,
Mm.
um, and come back with. There you
Oh
go.
yeah, that's brilliant. That's brilliant.
So this context thing, this context switching, is really quite on the button and quite speedy.
That's tight, man. That's really tight. Like
Yeah,
it turns on a dime. It's like bang. Like it's just
yeah, yeah,
incredibly
yeah.
responsive.
And
Mm.
I can be pretty vague about it. What color should my tie be? So remember, we're talking about ties and suits.
Right, you were too. I forgot.
Yeah. There you go. Match suit color. Remember the context. I was talking about tying a suit. Then it said,
Right.
what color should the tie be? And then it says, wow, you need to match it with your suit. So
Right.
it's gone back, pick that context up.
Yeah, right,
But
right,
you
right.
notice that there's no. Now I've got to test this fully, but there's no pollution from anything else
Mm.
between this.
That's really clean. Okay,
Yeah,
so are you still are you still feeling that the goalie needs to have its session pruned at times, or you're confident that that doesn't
um,
matter as much?
I, I'm going to do some stress testing on it, but at the moment, no.
Okay.
That's I think we wouldn't hit the size of the box for a while. But
Yeah. Okay.
there's a. I remember what I was saying about it seems to have naturally pulled out two types of actions. So it's match
Yeah.
suit cut. Do this.
Why does it
This
always
is wait.
choose two? Why does it always choose two?
Because I told it to.
Okay. All right. Well, that's
Two
okay.
actions.
All
So
right. Okay. All right. Well, that's fascinating. So I guess I'll keep going with hooking up the actual making artifact changes there, and
yeah,
then
yeah,
chuck this thing in and take it from there. But
yeah.
man,
Cool.
that is fascinating.
It's not bad, is it? It's not bad out of the box.
Yeah.
That's well, however long it is since we last talked. It's like 24 hours or something.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
Pretty good.
It's
Okay, I'll
amazing.
start
It's
thinking
amazing
about
how
the
fast this
buckets.
stuff, how fast this kind of.
You couldn't you couldn't code this traditionally. You just couldn't.
There's
So
no
it'd be
way.
like a team of 12 who would spend seven figures and then
Oh,
they would
you.
fail.
Yeah, I know. And then it also, I mean, it's incredibly fast for us to hook up as well. Like the CRM
Yeah.
app, I had an artifact version built years ago. It's the UI that's the killer. Like if you can just drive the whole thing from within artifact, you know, you you're half
I
done.
know.
Because it feels like I was coding for developers before, and now I'm coding for AI, which is different again,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
it's much
It's
better.
really powerful way of coding.
Yeah,
So a lot of the system prompt was actually a conversation I had with ChatGPT
right,
earlier about how to build this. I said, okay, my goal is to make a goalie, you know.
right.
It was GDP that prompted me saying, well, we got goals and actions. I was like, oh, I hadn't thought of that. That's
Yeah,
interesting.
yeah, yeah.
there's this conversation backwards and forwards that makes it really, really fast.
Right.
But it's a joy to work with because it never actually breaks. All it does is go off piste every now and then. Then you take your pistol, show it, the butt of your pistol, and it comes right back in line. It's like, I'm going to give you an example.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So we'll get this hooked
Right.
up, and then immediately after, I think the next major thing we got to do is get automated tests that can use the tools to test the tools, and that
Yeah.
will get the quality level up a lot, so that we can part of our product can be, we can say we have thoroughly tested this class of functionality.
Yeah.
Would you like to experiment?
Yeah, and there's a fair bit of thought when you get around there, but my gut says the testing and the guardians are essentially the flip sides of the same coin.
Yeah, they really are. They really are.
Yeah.
Okay, doke. All right,
Right.
I'll keep at it and I'll keep you posted.
Cool, man. I probably only got another hour in me before I start to fade.
Oh,
It might
good
be a
man.
bit longer.
Okay, no
But yeah,
worries. All right,
nice one. All
I'll
right.
see you later.
See you later.